Good evening. A regular meeting of the Board of Trustees of Socorro Independent School District will be held Tuesday, July 26, 2022, and the time is 6 o'clock. It'll be held in the District Service Center. First item on the agenda is call to order, and I officially call this meeting to order. And we have a young lady that's going to accompany us for the Pledge of Allegiance, and her name is Emily Sendek, a sixth grader from Mountwood Middle School. If you please join me with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge of allegiance to the Texas flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Now we move on to item number 3, the superintendent's comments. Dr. Nate.
Thank you, Mr. Mena. Good evening, President Mena, members of the board, and good evening to our Socorro ISD community. We have some new personnel introductions of new leaders here at SISD. I'd like to start by welcoming Dr. Angela Gonzalez as the new Chief Human Resources Officer. I'd also like to welcome Dr. Tamika Brown as the new Deputy Superintendent of Human Resources, Curriculum and Instruction, and Assistant Superintendents of Schools. I'd like to welcome Vicki Pettis as the new Chief Financial Officer. I'd like to welcome Dr. Andrea Cruz as the new Assistant Superintendent of Administrative Services. I'd like to welcome Dr. Katrina Wright as the new Principal of Benito Martinez Elementary School. I'd like to welcome Rachel Sendek as the new Principal of Elfida P. Chavez Elementary School. I'd also like to welcome Ashley Adcox as the new Principal of Sierra Vista Elementary School. Looking forward to all these new leaders at SISD and the great things they're going to do for this district. Thank you all. Do you have Ms. Ramos, have we not recognized you at the previous meeting? Okay, all right. Well, just in case, Alice Ramos, Chief Technology Officer, welcome again. You get 2 months. Just a few comments this evening. We know we have a lot of great things happening here at Socorro ISD. I'll begin with having our Convocation 2022 yesterday, and what an amazing time it was. It was so great to see our entire district celebrating together and having so much fun with the help of the best MC we could have asked for, Miss Lucy Borrego. This incredible event could not have come to fruition without Dr. Brown, her team of executive assistants, and especially our public relations team, who never cease to amaze me on the quality of work they knock out. Thank you. I can tell you, this team took the lead and made this huge event happen in record time. I didn't give them a whole lot of lead time. But it does go to show what an amazing team SISD can be and how we can do amazing things together. I would also like to thank our Board of Trustees for being part of this wonderful event yesterday. Thank you. You want to share that at this point or when I'm finished? Okay. Yeah, we have a highlight video. I'm not sure all of you got to see it yesterday. We'd like to share it with the board as well as our community members that are present. was a great job by our PR team. Thank you, Daniel. Positive, upbeat, set the right tone for the start of school. Thank you, sir. So we're also very excited to announce the ribbon cutting ceremony for our newest elementary school, Ben Narbeth, which will be on Thursday, August 4th at 10 a.m. Mark your calendars. Have to announce, of course, what everybody's been looking forward to. Start of the 22-23 school year begins on August 1st, 2022. And want to take this opportunity to wish everyone a great 2022-2023 school year. I know we'll make it a great one. This concludes my comments, Mr. Mena.
Okay, with that said, we'll move to item number 4, Board Honors, presenter Daniel Escobar.
Good evening, President Mena, members of the board, and Superintendent Dr. Carmen. My name is Daniel Escobar, Chief Communications Officer for the district, and it is my pleasure to introduce tonight's recognitions. If you'll all please step down to receive our honorees. We have one very special recognition tonight to honor the Pebble Hills High School NJROTC academic team, which participated in the 2022 JROTC Leadership and Academic Bowl, a national competition held in Washington, D.C. Out of 2,200 worldwide NJROTC academic teams that competed, the NJROTC academic team from Pebble Hills High School placed in the top 3% to earn their place in the JLAB Championship, and they competed at the nation's capital this past June. This is the first time a local NJROTC unit has participated in the JLAB Championship. Congratulations to the outstanding NJROTC academic team for Pebble Hills High School. They are Michael Tubbs, Talia Jump, Diego Macias. They're led by their instructors, Frank Casanon and Justo Mendoza. If we can have the 5 of you back to the front for a photo, please. And just a quick note that the photos taken by our district photographer will be available for free high-resolution download. There is a camera icon on the bottom right-hand corner of our website. That'll take you to the SmugMug account. And again, these pictures will be available there for free high-resolution download. More pictures. Congratulations once again. And that concludes our recognitions for this evening. Thank you.
And thank you, Mr. Escobar. With that said, we will move to open forum. Item number 5. Socorro Independent School District Board of Trustees, open forum. The district is a local government body charged with serving the educational needs of all school children in our district. And board meetings must be focused on meeting this charge. The district board meetings are public meetings under the Texas Open Meetings Act to conduct the business of the district. They are not, however, meetings of the public. Therefore, all persons in attendance are expected to display civility and decorum. Individuals shall refrain from using harmful and offensive content, i.e. libel, slander, defamation, obscenities, fighting words, for respect of and the rights and reputations of others. We greatly appreciate those individuals who have requested to speak to the board during open forum or in regards to a specific agenda item. We are bound by certain time constraints in order to cover all of the items on the agenda and therefore must limit presentations to 5 minutes. Please respect the rights of others in your presentations. By law, the board cannot take action upon or discuss any item which is not posted on tonight's agenda. But we will give all presentations our serious considerations. Thank you. Let's proceed to open forum. And with that said, the first person on the open forum list is Maggie Ronquillo. Is she here? Maggie, come up forward.
Good afternoon. My name is Maggie Ronquillo. This past April, I started working for the district as a substitute teacher. My children graduated from America's High School, and so I was somewhat familiar with the district. And back in May, I happened to be substituting for Escondidas Elementary School. I had the kids in the classroom were amazing. They were great kids, very eager to learn. And since we were reaching the end of the school year this May, I made some suggestions to the students on things to do during the summer break, including going to the El Paso Public Library, not only for books, but also for many summer activities that they offer there. I used to take my own kids every summer. And the children were very excited. And so I went ahead and called the public library to ask what the students needed in order to obtain a card. I know the parents had to go with them, but I wanted to be thorough and give them the right information. So I called the library, which I happen to have on my phone. I go there. And the nearest library located for them happens to be in Alameda, on Alameda Avenue, for the children at Escondidas. Sadly, though, these children were not going to be able to obtain a card because they live outside of the county. My heart sank, and I thought it was unfair for them. I had gotten them excited for it. So they had to pay in order for them to be able to check out books. I recall all the summers, I was recalling all the summers that I took my own children to the library and how much they enjoyed it and how much they learned. I feel that all students within the district should have access to the same benefits regardless of where they live. And this includes the public library and books. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ronquillo. Our next speaker is Jennifer DeGraff.
I know. Good evening. I don't want to be too loud, want to be loud enough. Thank you guys so much for what you do. And, you know, when I think about being able to address the board, I'm not here to address the board. I'm here to commend the board. The reason that I am here is I grew up right down the street, went to Montwood High School in one of the first years that it was open. I won't mention what year that was. But the Whataburger that is still there, I believe it was remodeled, but at the time that was kind of the end of the line. That was as far as we could go. And every time I see that color green, I'm like, yes. I mean, I didn't originally like the color green. No offense, sir. I love your suit there. It looks great. What I started to think about was how at this particular time, as it has been a roller coaster of life, if you're a stakeholder for any reason, you're human, right? So all of the humans that happen to be here in the room, they are a stakeholder in some sense, one sense or another. And the reason that I wanted the opportunity to talk today, and I know, Dr. Brown, please let me know when my 5 minutes is up. I don't like to go over time. When I think about it all the time, prioritizing mental health is the reason that we're still here. I think back to when I was a Ram. I know Coach Bennett, and if I say that name, some of you should automatically know she was an amazing coach and still is. Without her, I'm not sure that my mental health would have been saved. As a kid, my parents got divorced at 16. She knew. She could tell that there was something wrong with me. And so she decided to come in and support that mental health side for me. And if it hadn't been for her, then I wouldn't have been able to go on and become an educator myself, because Mrs. Gilmore, again, a teacher from Montwood High School, she knew that there was something going on. And with her prioritizing her students' mental health first, we academically were successful. When we know what the emotional side is of our parents in the room, I know I have parents in the room. I'm a parent. I've got 3 sons. One of them is going into 9th grade. I'm already a little scared. He's going from middle school to high school, it seems like in the blink of an eye. And as a parent, I need a little more mental health support to make sure that I don't accidentally ground him for life. When I think about it at the end, I have a middle schooler who throughout the pandemic has kind of gone from 4th grade to 7th grade in a matter of a flash. Academically, yeah, he's a little bit behind, but aren't we all? And if we think first about their emotional well-being and whether or not they are mentally stable and ready to learn, then how can we really expect our academics to improve? That leads us into adults. From my heart to yours, I commend you for being here. We always have those things we can control. This happens to be one of them, unless you're mandated. At that point, I mean, hey, let's make a difference in the lives of kids. I know that with our time, I went ahead and took some notes. When I mentioned Coach Bennett, don't call it a comeback. I love that song. That video right away brought a little, lump in my throat. If there are any coaches, if there are anybody that does after-school activities, that is what helps us stay focused on academics. And if Coach Bennett is watching, I did tell her that I would be here today. For you, I thank you. I didn't realize that Dr. Brown would actually be here today, and when I think about leading, she led my way. When I decided to become an educator, I decided after being Teacher of the Year, let me go ahead and step it up. Now I want to be an administrator. At the time, I really didn't know my mental or social emotional support system. Without her, I never would have made it to the principalship. In fact, if you're a brand new principal, and I know they were here a minute ago, and I had that heartfelt mental stability feeling. And Dr. Brown, for that, I thank you. When I think about innovating, Socorro, at the end of the day, you raised me. If it wasn't for the stakeholders in Socorro ISD, I wouldn't still be here. And while my continued battle with stage 4 cancer, I will never just give up. I will stay mentally sound, and I will fight, and I will find a way to make sure that I beat the odds. And for you that are in this room, I thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Tommy Hill.
What a speech that was. I gotta follow that? All right. That's one heck of a speech and awesome. Convocation, my God, that was awesome. You just hit it out of the ballpark. Anybody who was there, that just was the best thing, the best opening of school I've ever seen, any school. So even when I was in school, that was awesome. Thank you to everybody about that. Okay, the raise, thank you guys so much. You guys did a great job. We're the only district with a $15 minimum wage. No other district take that from us. Thank you. Pablo, you raised up the bar, $2,500. Thank you. It's an extra $500. That's going to help everybody. It was a 7-0 vote. Thank you all. Thank every one of you. 7-0. We all tried to come together and do the right thing. On a route, we all knew that something needed to be done. Inflation was killing us, and you guys You guys came to bat for us. There's some things on TASB we still need to work on, and I hope that we can further, and I know we can. We show up every month. It doesn't matter because, you know, we're not talking about our raise anymore, but we're still going to be here, and we're always going to be here. We got some of our SPED clerks here, and we want to thank you for supporting them. Thank you for looking out for them. But there's still a little bit more work on that, and I know we'll get that taken care of. We want to thank you guys very much, and let's go over every part of that TASB, because there's some parts in that TASB we don't want to miss anybody. We don't want to forget about anybody. We want to keep on going. We want to show that every single person matters. Not just some of them, every single one. And we're on the right path, and I know we're going to take it home. We're going to make that touchdown, because we're going to make for sure that we do not miss one person on that TASB. We need to finish the job there. I thank you guys very much. All right.
Our next member is Mr. Jaime Martinez.
Good evening, Dr. Carmen, President Mena, members of the board. I would like to take this time to highlight an earlier tweet by Dr. Carmen as I was writing my speech earlier at work. He did make reference to having every campus now in Socorro ISD having a certified police officer. So that's good, because that's where I'm going. I would like to highlight that during the past months that I have attended several board meetings, there has been a high presence of district police. Today we have 4, which has been required because of various topics of discussion. Unfortunately, the same presence is not evidenced at every campus. We need to continue pushing for additional staffing to provide our students, faculty, and staff. Now that we have officers at every campus, we need to make sure that our brave police force is properly equipped, and that is the reason why I'm here. First, I must clearly state that I have 0 law enforcement experience, but I will share how our sheriff's SROs in my place of employment are equipped. Every SRO is, in every single one of our campuses, is equipped with a high-power rifle, which they bring into school in the mornings. They're stored in their own rifle safe in their offices, and at the end of the day, the officer takes his or her assigned rifle home. It is sad to say, but important to understand, that every day more and more high-power weapons are being used to commit such atrocities. I know that our officers have handguns, and if you do the comparison to a handgun to a high-power rifle, our officers are at a disadvantage. Along with such weapons that our sheriff's SROs have, they're also given bulletproof vests with armor plates that are designed to withstand the impact of these types of weapons. This in itself brings a bit more comfort of well-being, as they would not feel at a disadvantage with a possible threat. Additionally to having, the vest that they normally carry that would be able to withstand a handgun or a lower caliber type of rifle, they do have bigger armor plates that they bring in every day in the morning, take it home in the afternoon. Every single SRO in our district is equipped, like I said. They have a safe in their office, which the safe is always locked. The office is always locked, and they do have a high-power rifle. When I had the conversation with the SRO at the campus where I served, to me, as an employee, brought comfort, because that's my first line of defense. Furthermore, every unit patrol car is parked in front of every campus at the place of employment where I work. This allows for the public to be aware of law enforcement presence and could serve as a possible a possible deterrent to harm. I mean, even myself, when I'm running late to work, I see that unit out there and I slow down, right? Because you never know if they're there. Uh, and I want to say that I've passed numerous times by various SISD campuses, and the police patrol cars are parked in our parking lots. Just a recommendation, it would serve as a deterrent if our patrol units are parked right in front of the campuses. On a final note, I do want to continue by praising our school board for the great things that you all have done and continue to do for our students and our employees. I feel that we should all continue to revisit our safety protocols. We, unfortunately, things have to happen and learn from those events. And we need to continue working hard, take the steps, and stay ahead of crime. As a taxpayer of the district and as a parent, and I'm sure there would be no single parent out there or in this room that would oppose to continue investing in the security and well-being of our children. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Martinez. We will now proceed to item number 6, district reports.
Good evening, President Mena, Dr. Carmen, and members of the board. I'm here to present the construction report. Before I do, I want to say, how about them Rams? Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry, I'm sorry to interrupt. Mr. Mena, we have one more speaker, Angie Soto. Do you have her information in front of you?
Oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't see this one. Sorry, we'll go back to open forum. And we have Angie Soto. I apologize, Ms. Soto. They got stuck together.
I thought I was off the hook. It's okay.
Sorry. Sorry. I apologize.
Good evening, Board President Mena, members of the board, and Dr. Carmen. For change today, I rise to speak and to say, not to have an ask, but actually to say thank you. Our employees greatly appreciate that you have seen the need and have approved a much-needed raise with inflation as it is. Thank you for continuing the tradition of always valuing our SISD employees. They rise to that when you respect them and you show you value them, then they work their hearts out. They do. They really work hard, and they've been through such a tough time with this pandemic, everything that's happened, the learning loss. I think it's just amazing that they have performed, our students have performed as well as they have through the hard work of everyone involved. Our parents, the parents put in their time too. So everyone, it takes a team. It takes a team to make those things happen. When I was first considered for employment, I was offered 2 different positions. I came through alternative certification. And one of the professors at UTEP told me that I should pick Socorro because Socorro was the innovative district and had vision. And y'all still continue to have vision. Thank you so much for growing this district and being as successful as it is. And I look at other districts in the region, and they look to Socorro to see what Socorro is doing, to make decisions. And y'all are the ones who are making those decisions that make the difference and have Socorro at the forefront. Yes, that was a fantastic convocation. I've been to many over my career. And Ms. Borrego, you missed your calling after being an educator, right? That was amazing. The energy was great. I think it carried over. I went to a campus today, and the energy was just up. You could feel it. You walk into the campus, and you can feel the energy. And thank you so much, Dr. Carmen, for setting that standard for the rest of the region here, because we do need to be reminded as educators about it's been a tough time, and teachers are burnt out, tired, overwhelmed. But I think yesterday reminded all of us with the keynote speaker that we, as educators, we make a tremendous difference in lives. You know, we can save lives. We can set them on the right path. Teachers will have students come back. We don't even realize what we're saying,
that will make that difference in that child's life, and they never forget it. And, you know, as educators, we'll have someone come back and say, I remember when you told me this. And it's just about those relationships that are so important that make that difference in every single student's life. And thank you for that reminder yesterday. And again, thank you so much for your hard work, your service. It's making a huge difference and making our district the most successful. Thank you.
Thank you, Angie. Okay, now we're going to, sorry about that again. So now we're going to the district reports. Mr. David Carrasco.
Yes, sir. Thank you once again. David Carrasco, Director of Maintenance Operations for Team SISD. And like I did send a shout out to the Rams because that first year as well, we won't say the time, but I was there as well. I wish I could say as a student, but I was a charter faculty member. Of course, I was only 13 when I was hired at that time. But anyway, it's a great school. I do see Miss Coach Bennett. I'll make sure I tell her hi. Okay. Moving along, before I do, I'd like to just say again to Dr. Carmen and the board, echoing what everybody has said, the convocation was amazing, over the top. Dr. Brown caught me right before we were walking in and said, "You're gonna be impressed, and you're gonna see what's gonna happen." And I said, "You're right. It was over the top." So we appreciate it. My maintenance and operations team today, we're echoing a lot of energy, and they wanted to thank you for giving us a little shout out to the maintenance team, and so we appreciate that, and we're looking forward to continuing having these schools ready for these students when we come back in Monday. Okay. All right. Our first item we want to talk about is Socorro High School. With Socorro High School, we are completing phase 2, and then if you look, it starts on, I'm sorry, the report starts on page 9 of your booklet. And the first one we're looking at is Socorro High School. The area in orange is phase 2. That area, it consists of the fine arts area, as well as the administration building, and also the pit area, which would be on this screen we have here. And I'm thinking it doesn't have the pointer not working. But again, it'd be the fine arts would be the auditorium. It would be the orchestra room, the band room, and the dance room. On the second floor of this area is going to consist of the early college classrooms, and again, also the final part of it will be the pit that will be completed as well. As far as the finalization date, we're working with construction, finishing up all the final details. I will say that this next picture we have here, that little rotunda, the glass rotunda there, that's going to be the entry to the administration building. And then all the glass window area there is all the administrative offices. If you look, of course, that picture on the right, there's been much progress from there, which we go there on the picture on the left. You have a view there of the early college wing classrooms. And those are all finishing up and being completed. The CTE classroom wing on the right-hand picture, far much more detail that has been completed as from that picture being taken. We do have scheduled this Saturday at 2 p.m. You'll be sent an invitation. We're going to I think we'll answer many of the questions you have with Socorro High School. It'll be a tour. We'll have the construction team as well as the contractor, and that's this Saturday at 2 p.m. Does anybody have any questions as far as Socorro High School? Okay. Our next item is El Dorado High School. And El Dorado High School, for the most part, is completed. Again, in the orange areas, if you look at on my left, I'm not sure if you're looking at probably your left as well, the orange square right in the middle of the two semicircle buildings, that is the black box. That's the only area that we're waiting for the final approval or completion. And of course, the black box there is for theater productions plays that they kind of do the practicing, and that's the only area we have that's left. If you look lower to the left, that's going to be the mariachi room. That is complete. And also the courtroom. And I did not have a picture there for you. But the photo I did have, once we did finish up the courtroom there, that is complete. But the picture on the left, you see, we were able to do some upgrade for the high school. We were able to refinish, and put new logos on both gyms, the main gym as well as the auxiliary gyms. And that one picture just shows it's a really nice upgrade for the high school. So I think it'll be something that the campus will be much impressed with. So for that much, other than the black box, El Dorado High School is also complete. Any questions? Okay. The next item is Ben Narbeth Elementary School. I will say this past weekend, Saturday, our warehouse team delivered all the custodial supplies, all the equipment, and it was quite a sight, working with administration and our custodial team. The teachers were in there starting to get set up, getting moved in. It's a beautiful school, and we're looking forward to Monday, receiving all the happy, smiling faces in a really beautiful campus. I know as you make your visits, they'll be probably working there the next couple of days, so you'll be quite impressed with that campus as well. So as far as Ben Narbeth, everything is moving as planned, ready for it to receive students. So looking forward to seeing those little smiling jackrabbits report on Monday morning. Okay? Any questions on Ben Narbeth? As far as the East Lake Middle School, that project is still progressing very nicely, and that is on schedule and on target to be completed as proposed in December. So we'll keep you updated as time goes, provide more updated pictures for you, and I'm sure at one point us as a construction team will report back with you and even have some kind of a tour so that you can see it in a more close basis. Any questions on those campuses? Okay. I will say, moving on, we are, as far as the department, very proud to say we're completing and finishing up the 2 academies, PDN Fine Arts Academy. And again, when you're making your visits, please stop by. I think you'll be really impressed with some of the things we've done with the campus, and we're excited to see all the young students go in there and attend that one. And also the STEAM Academy at Escondidas have done some really nice upgrades to there. So I'm really proud of our team for all the nice, great work that we're able to do for those campuses. Also, I have to give a shout out to my custodial team. Over the last, it's a very short break, and over those 7 weeks, they've worked diligently to get those schools prepared, and we're very proud to welcome them and provide a very good, warm, welcoming environment for each and every student. Other than that, I complete my presentation. Any questions?
Got a question?
Yes, sir.
The AstroTurf on these fields, what's the status on those?
Thank you, Mr. Casiano. Currently, we're working with Hellas. El Dorado is, they're kind of doing in stages, each campus. We'll have a meeting tomorrow morning with them. Me and Mr. Calderon will be meeting with them at 9 a.m. El Dorado is making real great progress. They're moving towards Americas. I'd prefer to maybe have that, after that meeting tomorrow, be able to provide that maybe in your Friday packet. Would that be okay? But I will say El Dorado is looking really, really nice. They're moving on to Americas, and then from there they go on stages. They have different crews. The removal team, they come into the prep team that comes in, and they have the finishing team that comes in and lays the turf. But I will provide some pictures and some more detailed information for you.
Could you do that, ensure us that they had a promised deadline to get them complete? Are we on track for that? That was a big concern up here when
yes,
this thing was voted on.
Yes, it was. Like I said, let us have that meeting. I'll give you some more specific dates on that to you once I guess tomorrow would be a better time once we meet with them and they were waiting for some materials. They were waiting for some turf. They were waiting to get in as far as delivery, but they're moving as quickly as they can. And like I said, I go out each day, and they're making some good progress on both of them, on those campuses. Yes, sir.
Pretty packet, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Question, the SAC, where does the SAC 2 stand?
Mr. Barrera, right now, the SAC really is a lot of something a lot of earth movement, a lot of earth work. Some of you could say the plumbing would be taking place. So a lot of it's more like the engineering part of it as far as the groundwork. Not a whole lot of, you could say, progress as far as seeing things going up as far as the SAC itself. But as it does progress, we're going to try to keep we will keep some details and then bring them to you as we provide these reports to you in the future.
And then how far along do we stand with the construction, with the building adjacent to here that's supposed to be constructed?
Another good question. That is in the design. The design has been already, they brought it to us, finalized it. We've given comments. They're going to come back with the final. And then once that, we'll review that with the construction company, then bring that to you here very soon for final approval. And hopefully move forward with construction. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
No.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to consent agenda. Yes.
I have 2 items to pull.
Yes, ma'am.
Item 7G and item 7I.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
7A.
Anything else?
Motion to approve consent agenda with the exception of items 7A, 7G, and 7I.
Second. Okay, I have a motion from Ms. Centenajera and a second by Mr. Morales. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we'll move on to item 7A.
It's on page 19 of the booklet.
What is it?
You got it? Ready?
Don't see it.
Page 19, I have reference to the 2022-2023 employee compensation plan.
Okay, I see.
We discussed the pay raise, and the motion was made to approve the pay raise, but the plan itself, the rest of the salary schedule was never brought forth or approved. No motion was made for it, so we can make the correction on that.
Who can speak on this? Ms. Stiles?
Good evening, President Mena, Dr. Carmen, members of the board. I'm sorry, Mr. Castellano, what was the question?
When we discussed the salary increase, that was all that was approved on the motion. The rest of the plan, when it comes to the stipends, the rest of the salary schedule was not approved or motion to made approved, but it says it was approved here, so.
I believe it was included as part of the budget. There was an itemized information.
Actually, it was its own agenda item.
Correct.
Yes.
The budget. And it included the stipend.
There was the employee compensation plan and then the budget, 2 separate items.
Correct.
Okay.
So my understanding, and I can go back and double check with Ms. Olson, she's not here this evening, is they provided a detailed breakdown of the stipends and the cost in the budget.
The last Friday packet, we received the rest of the information on the stipends, total amount spent per year. So it was not presented to us before the meeting. It was only presented in this last Friday packet. So it hasn't been moved forward. So let the attorney review this before we approve this part of it.
Okay. Okay, we can bring that information forward.
Motion to table the minutes for future board meeting
pending review and possible update or correction.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Nájera and a second by Mr. Castellano to table the minutes until further review. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. G?
Yes, sir.
7G, and I'll read it out. Consider approval of revision of local policy DMA.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mena, on reading the policy, the way the policy is stated, it says the board shall annually review the professional development clearinghouse published by the State Board of Education certification and annually approve the district's professional development plan. But upon checking with Ms. Borrego and Ms. Cruz, the policy explanation from TASB does not say that the board has to review the clearinghouse as it states in here. So my recommendation is to remove that part of the sentence that says the board has to annually review the professional development clearinghouse and just have the sentence state the board will annually approve the district's professional development plan.
Okay, is that your wishes?
Those are mine, but it's for discussion.
Okay. Open for discussion, guys.
Policy back to have it corrected? I mean, because I think that clearinghouse has, or does it need to be?
It is time sensitive, but this is a new Senate bill that was passed, and as our legislators sometimes do, they put us on a rush, and it has to be done by August 1st, Monday.
So we don't have much time then.
So, question then, can you, I'm sorry for putting you on the spot, because clearinghouse is referenced in number 1, in number 2, as well as the first paragraph. So is there any way that you could state for us what the policy should read?
Good evening, Board President Mena, members of the board, and Dr. Carmen. This policy is part of Update 119. We have pushed it forward because there is an August 1st deadline so that we can have a professional development plan in place. It is another agenda item, so it does list the professional development that will be provided to the district. That plan is guided as recommended by this policy. It's guided by the SBEC clearinghouse. I believe that the change that Ms. Nájera is requesting is perfectly fine. We can always have that reviewed by TASB prior to a formal change. But with that request, we can approve it with that possibility and bring it back to you if you wish.
I make a motion that we go forward with policy DMA with removing the sentence, the board shall annually review the professional development clearinghouse published by the State Board of Educator certification.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Ms. Nájera and a second by Mr. Nájera. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Okay, the next one is 7I. Also by Ms. Nájera. Consider approval of revisions of Regulation DEAA.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mena. I'm sorry, let me get to my book. The agenda item, Ms. Stiles, states it's Regulation DEAA. And I know that we have discussed this before about having the board approve new stipends. And when we discussed it before, we had discussed having it as a budget amendment. But this agenda item is asking the board to approve the regulation, and the board does not approve regulation.
That's correct. So the regulation is not there as an approval, it's as a reference point for a change in the compensation plan, just so you all are aware of what's changing, because it's not really listed anywhere else.
It concerns me with the way that it's worded on the agenda, because consider approval of revisions to Regulation DEAA.
Okay.
And it's just not something the board is supposed to do.
Okay.
And so I don't know what we want to do about this.
Is there any way we can scratch that approval and revisions out?
Can we change the agenda? I don't,
Or just remove it off the agenda, no?
Review of stipends falls under DEA local, so we review it, but yeah, this is regulation, it's just, you have to present it anyway to us, but not the regulation.
Stepping out for approval.
Would it be consent?
Ms. Gonzalez, please.
I'm going to ask our attorney here, but I think it would be possible for the board to make a motion to consider or to approve the revisions to the compensation plan for the incentives and stipends as exhibited in Regulation DEAA. Would that be an appropriate
Yes,
motion?
no, I think that's appropriate because even though the agenda item says consider approval of revisions to Regulation DEAA, underneath and under information, it clarifies that the revisions pertain to the compensation plan for incentives and stipends. So the public has notice of what you're considering. And so you don't want to take action to actually approve the regulations themselves, but just as the presenter presented, it's a reference to what's in the regulations as far as stipends. You can just approve the stipends itself, and you'll be okay under the Open Meetings Act.
But that's being presented under DEA. That's what I talked about earlier, that you said we approved it in the last board meeting, and we did not approve the stipends or the annual compensation plan. Now you want to do this to approve it. It needs to be presented before the board, what you're changing, or present it to the HR committee, to the policy committee meeting, so we can see what's being added in and not, because there's quite a bit of stipends in here. Like I said, we just got the total sums on it to review last Friday, and there's considerable questions to be asked about it, but to approve the budgets right now, it wasn't, to improve the employee compensation plan right now, wasn't on the agenda.
So we're not asking to approve that. That was
You're asking to approve the stipends.
no,
the
just-
additional stipends that are being added.
And which is
it
being
was
added right
presented
now.
at the HR board committee meeting.
And which ones are being added? Can
they're
you-
highlighted.
That's all black and white.
So it is an addition, an additional $500 to the Career and Technology Student Organization sponsor stipend, and that's approximately $60,000. In addition to that, you have a teacher.
Can we get a page number so they can follow along? It's on 168, I think, is the first one, right, for career
Sorry,
and
I don't
technology?
have a copy of the
Oh.
book, so I don't know what pages they
Page
fall
page
under.
168.
168.
The top one is the first request to be changed. CTE, student organization sponsored, from 1,000 to 1,500. And in our copy, it's not highlighted, it's crossed out with a new number underlined.
Correct.
That's the first one.
And then the next one is adding the teacher residency mentor teacher. That's from the T-class grant. That is 100% grant funded, and that is $1,000.
Page 170, it is second from the bottom. It is underlined as well.
The next one is on page 173. It is a travel stipend for an ESSER-funded attendance department social worker, and that is one position, and the total budget impact is $1,392.
That's 174, you said?
174 is the next one. That was 173, this is 174. A travel stipend for the fine arts communication specialist, that is also an ESSER-funded position, and the total amount would be $2,088 annually. On page 177, a cell phone stipend for the attendance department social worker, that is ESSER funded, $600 annually. On page 178, the coordinator of loss of credit, and that's one position for a total of $600 annually. On page 179, a travel stipend for the juvenile truancy case managers. There are 5 ESSER, 1 general fund for a total of 6. That is $3,600 total, 3,000 out of ESSER, 600 general funds.
What page was that?
79.
179.
It's a cell phone stipend?
Yes, sir.
You said travel.
Cell phone stipend for the juvenile truancy case manager. And the last one is on page 183, and this isn't actually a stipend, it's extra duty pay to compensate a total amount that was discussed for the Healthy Body, Strong Mind campus coordinators. It's calculated at $120 a week per campus. With all the campuses that we have estimated, it's about $288,000 annually for all campuses.
Any other questions?
Yes, hang on. Going through all this.
The stipends you named, are they new?
Yes, sir. These are being added with your approval.
This should have been presented with the total package plan. You're talking travel stipends. One of the questions I had about the travel stipend, how much does the district spend in the stipend annually in travel? Because there's concerns that I have that I've discussed with the superintendent about being more efficient, you know, finding better ways to spend the money. How much does the district spend in travel stipends?
I don't have that information off the top of my head, sir. What I provided you is the total budget cost per stipend of what's being added.
You don't have the information, but do you want us to approve it?
That was approved as part of the budget last month.
And I'm asking this question. The budget was approved, but it all has to be presented by the superintendent to us annually, the stipends and stuff. And I'm asking that question now.
I don't have the total budget of what we spend on travel stipends annually.
Make a motion, we table this until we get the information and can present it to us.
I'll second that. The question that I have though is it says regulation, but if these are new stipends, we have to approve a new stipend, so it should have been under approval, not under regulation.
Okay, so the stipends, regulation does not get approved by the board. It is part of the compensation plan,
Correct.
the stipends. So we're bringing it as in the regulation as a form of reference because that's kind of the only place they're listed and itemized with the information. So we're bringing you these brand new stipends that have not been paid out so that they can be approved so we can start paying employees the stipend that you all approve. These are in addition to what already exists.
It's like an update. It's a revision. So the compensation plan and including the incentives and the stipends was already approved with the budget when Mr. Reza presented in the last meeting. So that is already approved. This is a revision and update. In this period of time, we have administrators looking to provide certain employees these stipends. So we added, and we're here presenting for approval to update the compensation plan and stipends, just to update so we can add these new ones.
That should have been done last week, or last month, I'm sorry. The only thing that was brought forward in last month was just, actually one sheet, was the pay increase. But the rest of the salary schedule was not presented. And that's what was on the agenda. Your employee compensation plan was on the agenda. DEAA is in here, but it wasn't presented. It wasn't brought forward last time when it was on the agenda. It's not on the agenda today. It seems like it's trying to be snuck in on us when it should be presented. Whether it was approved in the budget, the total amount, you did not say how that total amount was going to be spent by presenting this to us. This came in a Friday packet, so.
Well, it's just like budget amendments that we do every month.
Yeah, but DEA says you get to present it. And she's saying, well, it's in the budget there, look for it, present it.
Question. So if we look at the approved budget amounts for stipends, the budget that we approved last month, and we look at the totals will reconcile because these were already part of that, right? It's not going to be an increase to the budget that we already approved. that was already part of this.
So these that I'm presenting were not part of that budget. That's why they're being presented separately. Anything that comes after that, we have to bring forward to you all for your approval.
Then the agenda item is wrong, because what it sounds like we need is a budget amendment to allow for funding of these additional stipends. And this, once again, says approval of the regulation. That's information. The first line is the agenda item. Basically, we could leave the information stuff out, because the agenda item is consider approval of revisions to regulation DEAA. That's what the agenda item says. Number one, we don't approve regulations, and number two, it's not clear that we are amending the budget for the stipends. Because, I mean, what's the dollar amount? You've given them verbally, but I've got no supporting documentation that says, well, you know, this is the impact to the budget, other than what you've just stated right now.
And then I got something else, Mr. Mena. I mean, we didn't have a policy. Is it practice, Dr. Carmen, to at least bring regulations to the policy committee? So therefore, we didn't have a policy committee. So I mean, I was, you know, it sounded like it was done in HR, but not in policy. And I'll be honest, I was a little saddened that we didn't have a policy committee. And I think if we would have had the policy committee, this would have been able to be addressed there too, as well as in the HR. So, and being what Mr. Nájera said and Mr. Castellano, I still stand by my second.
I'll answer that question, Mr. Breda. Yes, sir, it is standard practice to bring regulation to the policy committee for review, not for approval.
President Mena, Dr. Carmen, board members. I do have the amounts that were budgeted in the budget for travel, if you want to know that. For August travel, that total was $403,000, $403,856. And then for travel July, it's really small on my phone. It was $1,133,578. The items that she listed today, the new stipends, they would not have been included in the budget, with the exception of the CTSO. There was a little confusion about the CTSO, and that was the one that she said would cost $60,000. That one is in the budget. But the new travel and the new I think you mentioned cell phone stipends, they would not be in the budget. But many of the items that she mentioned, they are ESSER funded. Did you have any other questions about any other stipends? I have all the totals.
The presentation should have been made last month, and we didn't get one. That's what I was saying. And you're bringing the totals in now, but they were presented to us for review.
We brought that forward with when we passed out the budget book. It's like all of the stipends were listed.
Mena, I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
Mrs. Olson, you're saying that all the amendments you just mentioned, all the budgets, will be ESSER funded?
Not all of them. It's like some of the ones that she listed would be ESSER funded. Some of them she mentioned they were general fund. The CTSO is general funded. It comes out of the general.
Got a motion on the table.
Okay, if there's any more questions? There is a motion on the floor, guys, so we have to move forward with this. So I have a motion by Mr. Castellano and a second by Mr. Barrera. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
No, it doesn't carry.
Well, I mean to.
Your motion carries.
Oh, the motion carries, but yeah, this doesn't
Your
carry.
motion carries,
this
yeah.
doesn't.
Your motion carries.
I'm sorry. Yeah, it was like, oh, yeah, we got it.
Your motion carries.
It's like last week, it got confusing. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, okay. Okay, and with that said, we will move into executive session. The meeting is to be closed for discussion with legal counsel regarding L. Hernandez versus SISD, case number 2020 DCV 3887, to include options for mediation and possible settlement, to discuss employment and duties of personnel, to include employee incident report and duties and responsibilities of an officer towards an employee, to discuss acquisitions of real estate matter, to consider administrative recommendations for principal positions at America's High School, Bill Seibert, assistant principal at Waco Elementary, H.D. Healy Elementary, and Purple Heart Elementary, Sergeant F. Carrasco Elementary, Desert Wind School, Captain Walter E. Clark Middle School, Socorro Middle School, Sergeant Manuel Puentes Middle School, Sunridge Middle School, El Dorado High School, Dean of Instructions for El Dorado High School under the Texas Code Section 551-071, 551-072, and 551-074. The time is 7:14. And we're back from executive session. Time is 8:30. New business. 9A, discussion and possible action regarding L. Hernandez versus SISD, case number 2020 DCV 3887, to include options for mediation and our legal counsel. Go ahead, Mr. Ramirez.
Yes, board members, on item 9A under your agenda, I recommend that you consider a motion to authorize legal counsel to proceed as disclosed in closed session.
Motion to approve?
Second.
By a motion by Ms. Nájera and a second by Mr. Castellano. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. B, consider approval of administrative recommendations. Dr. Carmen?
Sir, President Mena, members of the board, administration recommends Nancy Torres to assume the role and responsibilities as the new principal of Americas High School.
Motion to approve.
Second?
I have a motion by Mr. Castellano, a second by Ms. Nájera. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
President Mena, members of the board, administration recommends pulling this agenda item for principal of Bill Cyber School Pre-K 8 and reposting.
Motion to approve.
We don't need.
Next item.
No action.
Under the assistant principals, President Mena and members of the board, administration recommends pulling this agenda item for assistant principal of Waco Elementary School and reposting.
Next item.
President Mena and members of the board, administration recommends Samuel Sacero to assume the role and responsibilities as the new assistant principal of H.D. Hilly Elementary School.
Motion to approve. Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Morales and a second by Mr. Barrera. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
President Mena and members of the board, administration recommends Elizabeth Marquez to assume the role and responsibilities as the new assistant principal of Purple Heart Elementary School.
Motion to approve. Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Morales and a second by Mr. Castellano. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
President Mena and members of the board, administration recommends Brenda Mendoza to assume the role and responsibilities as the new assistant principal of Sergeant Jose Carrasco Elementary School.
Motion to approve. Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Morales and a second by Mr. Castellano. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
President Mena and members of the board, administration recommends pulling this agenda item for assistant principal of Desert Wind Elementary School and reposting. Administration recommends pulling this agenda item for assistant principal of Captain Walker E. Clark Middle School and reposting, and recommends pulling the agenda item for assistant principal of Socorro Middle School and reposting. The President Mena and members of the board, administration recommends Bianca Lacerio to assume the role and responsibilities as the new assistant principal of Puentes Middle School.
Motion to approve?
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Nájera, a second by Mr. Morales. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
President Mena and members of the board, administration recommends pulling the agenda item for assistant principal of Sunridge Middle School and reposting. Then administration recommends Robert Norton to assume the role and responsibilities as the new assistant principal of El Dorado High School.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Barrera, a second by Mr. Morales. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
For agenda item B3, President Mena and members of the board, administration recommends pulling the agenda item and reposting for Dean of Instruction for El Dorado High School.
Okay. So I will now adjourn this meeting. The time is 8:34. Meeting adjourned. Have a good evening.